Good afternoon, everybody. Oh, I actually wanted to do this. Good afternoon, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV. We are here to bring you a live update on the situation in Israel as, oops, hold on. There's an alarm going off. Sorry. There was an alarm going off. Give me a moment here. We are here to bring you live coverage of the situation in Israel as Israel waits for a response from Iran, an attack from Iran, in response to the killing of the Hamas leader in Tehran a couple days ago. So we have a live shot here from Tel Aviv, and I have some other live shots of Israel. I haven't seen any information saying this attack will happen tonight, but you don't know. So we are going to bring you some live coverage. And the basic idea is we're going to give you an update on what's going on, update on some stories about what's happening with Iran and Israel and Hezbollah and all that. Take your comments and questions on the air. Also, something else I wanted to mention is we are going to be covering tonight the freed U.S. hostages are going to land in the U.S. The hostages from the hostage exchange with Russia, they're going to land in the U.S. at around 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm planning on doing a stream tonight to talk about the hostages story and cover that tonight. So give me, hang on one second here. Anyways, so we are bringing you live coverage, and I want to get to the news. Give me about, I need about 6 seconds. I need about 6 seconds. If you give me 6 seconds, we'll get underway. All right, we're good to go. We're good to go. Yeah, so again, the timing of this is unclear. So we'll have to just, I would assume sometime in the coming days it'll happen, but we'll just have to wait and see. Another thing we're waiting for is, in addition to Iran directly responding to Israel, which it's believed will happen, Hezbollah is also saying it is going to respond to Israel. Hezbollah is the Iran-supported militant group / political party in Lebanon. So are Hezbollah and Iran going to respond at the same time? Is one going to respond before the other? I have no idea. So that is also something to keep an eye out for. There's no estimated time for the attack. It's just unclear at the moment when that will happen, and so we're going to keep an eye out and bring you updates. But I have a bunch of news I want to report. from the area and regarding this. Hey, before I begin though, let me thank our moderators. We have moderating right now Ruth Krafasi. Thank you, Ruth, so much. Carms is moderating. Thank you, Carms. And also Linda Belk and Larry on X. They are moderating. And thank you also to... One moment here. Our Twitch moderators. Idaho Star, Papa Bear, Surly Dev, Traveling Slim, thank you. And our Facebook moderators, I want to give a shout out to them. Oh, and thanks on Twitch to Laufender for subscribing. Thanks, Laufender. We also have Kay Lowry Body moderating and Margaret Riley on Facebook. I very much appreciate it. Thank you. By the way, I do have, not that we really need it at the moment, but I do have other shots of Israel skyline. One I'll show you real quick is there's the Jerusalem shot I can show you real quick. Here's the Jerusalem shot from AFP. That's Jerusalem. Ooh. That's Tel Aviv. That's Jerusalem. So we'll keep an eye out. Then there's another one I have. I actually have one of Haifa too. And then there's also one of the Lebanon-Israel border. There's actually two of the northern Lebanon border. The northern Israel border. So, again, if something actually happens, hopefully we have access to all these shots if something actually happens. They can come in and out. But we'll keep on the Tel Aviv shot for right now. No, I never have any live streams from Iran. So, hey, a quick thank you. Real quick, I want to say a couple thank yous before we get underway. Hey, thanks so much for your support, Jay Spike and the Mossy Egg and Matt Sandy and 5G. Thank you, PZ Papa Zulu, for the gift membership. So nice of you. Thank you, David Spivak. And thank you, 5G, for the gift memberships. Thanks so much, 5G. And then Michael Andren gave 50 people gift memberships. Wow. Thanks so much, Michael. It's very generous of you. Very kind of you, Michael. And everybody else, thank you as well. And also G. Callan and iCup, thank you. iCup says, I hope this doesn't escalate. Okay. You know, where I think I want to start is, wow, where to begin? Where to begin on this? So, a quick reminder that yesterday the New York Times reported that the Iranian supreme leader ordered a direct strike on Israel in response to the killing of the Hamas political leader in Tehran, Iran. I'm guessing most of you know that on Wednesday morning, the political leader of Hamas was assassinated in Iran, in Tehran. That was Ismail Haniyeh. He was visiting Iran for the Iranian president's inauguration, and he was staying in a guest house run by the Iranian military. And he was assassinated. And it is widely believed Israel did it. Iran and Hamas say Israel did it, and they are really the prime suspect. I mean, at a certain point, who else would have the means and motive to do it? Israel has not commented on it, but at the same time, they often don't say anything when their Mossad intelligence service carries out an assassination. So I'm going to assume for the sake of this broadcast that Israel did it. But Iran reportedly, so there's going to be a response clearly from Iran for that. But there's been this question, would Iran do something itself, or would it use its proxy forces like Hezbollah and the Houthis to do something for it? But the New York Times was reporting, and this just, it makes sense. The New York Times reported yesterday that the supreme leader of Iran ordered a direct attack by Iran on Israel. And that is what's happened in April. If you remember, in April, Israel launched a strike that killed a number of Iranian, I forget if it was officials or people in the military, but certainly at least one high-ranking person in the military. And they launched a strike on an Iranian embassy building in Syria. And like 12 days after that, Iran launched this big attack on Israel where they launched, I think, 170 drones and over 100 missiles at Israel. And that came directly from Iran. So I would certainly not be surprised, and I would probably expect that some component of the response would come directly from Iran, given the provocation of having this person attacked in Tehran. So we're waiting for that to happen. But something else we're waiting to happen is hang on a second here. This. Check this out. Oops, not that. This. Hold on a second. I want to go to where? Oh, this is I know what's happening. Hang on. I got to make a little adjustment here. What happened there? Right. We need to go to... Uh-oh. That's not what we want. Why can't I pull this up here? Ooh, I know. There we go. There we go. Hezbollah vows definite response to Israeli killing of top commander. This is different. This is different than this is different than Iran vowing a response to the killing of the Hamas leader in Tehran, because there was a second Israeli assassination within hours before the Hamas leader was killed. A top Hezbollah commander was assassinated by Israel in the suburbs of Beirut, and Israel admitted doing that. So we have this to wait for as well. I want to talk about this really quick. Let me just make a quick adjustment here. I got to make a quick fix so I don't mess something up. That, there, that, there. Okay. Okay, so this is from Reuters. I want to show you this article. That, by the way, is the picture description is Lebanon's Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah gives a televised address to mark 1 week since a suspected Israeli strike on Iran's consulate in Damascus. Oh wait, that was earlier. That was from April. Now, the article is from today. This picture is from April. It's Hezbollah leader Nasrallah. But just to be clear, this picture is from April. But the article you can see is from today. Let's look at the article. Lebanon's powerful Iran-backed group Hezbollah vowed on Thursday a definite response to Israel's killing of its top military commander, saying the strike had crossed red lines and the decades-old rivalry between foes had entered a new phase. So this was remarks made by Hezbollah's leader today. This was today he spoke. And again, this is not the leader of Iran. This is the leader of Hezbollah, which is backed by Iran. So we have Hezbollah saying they're going to respond to an assassination, and likely Iran going to respond to an assassination, a different assassination. Hezbollah chief Syed Hassan Nasrallah, speaking in a televised address to mark the funeral of the slain top commander in Hezbollah, said the resistance cannot but respond. This is definite. The funeral was attended by mourners clad in black, waving the group's yellow and green flag. We are looking for a real response, not a performative response, and for real opportunities. A studied response, he said. So not performative means not just like going through a show of doing something without really having without in fact it being a strong response. Although he did say a studied response. So maybe that means it'll take a while, I don't know. An Israeli strike on Hezbollah's stronghold in the southern suburb of Beirut on Tuesday killed Fuad Shukr, head of Hezbollah's military operations, along with an Iranian military advisor and 5 civilians. Just hours after that killing, the leader of Hamas, the political leader of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, was killed in the Iranian capital, Tehran, in an attack widely blamed on Israel, but that Israel has not officially taken responsibility for, reports Reuters. Shukr's killing was the most serious blow to Hezbollah in nearly 2 decades and threatened to push the tit-for-tat fighting across Lebanon's southern border in parallel with the Gaza war into a full-blown regional conflict. It followed an ultimately failed diplomatic effort aimed at pushing Israel to avoid a hit on Beirut in the aftermath of a strike on Israeli-occupied Golan last weekend that killed 12 children and that Israel blamed on Hezbollah. I know there's so many events, and it's hard to keep everything straight, but remember this kind of latest back and forth with Hezbollah started last weekend when a rocket that Israel says was fired by Hezbollah in Lebanon landed on a soccer field in Israel-controlled Golan Heights. And that kid killed 12 children. And then in response to that, Israel killed the top commander in Hezbollah in a strike in the suburbs of Beirut. And now Hezbollah is saying it's going to respond to that. The leader of Hezbollah, Nasrallah, said today that Hezbollah carried out an investigation that determined it was not responsible for the Golan strike. I don't know if he said that today, but he said it at some point. Anyways, Israel says that Hezbollah was responsible. Nasrallah said Israel's attacks on Beirut and Tehran, this is Nasrallah talking today, I assume. Nasrallah said Israel's attacks on Beirut and Tehran, coupled with a U.S. strike in a province south of Baghdad in the space of just a few hours, showed the conflict had entered a new phase of regional war on multiple fronts. Again, the leader of Hezbollah, this person, Nasrallah, said that the two Israeli assassinations in Beirut and Tehran, coupled with a U.S. strike in a province south of Baghdad in the space of just a few hours, showed the conflict had entered a new phase of regional war on multiple fronts. Nasrallah said some countries, which he did not name, had asked his group to retaliate in an acceptable way or not at all. He denounced those attempts and outlined the response would be proportional to Israel's targeting of a civilian building in the capital city's suburbs. Nasrallah said, "There's no discussion on this point. The only things lying between us and you are the days, the nights, and the battlefield," he said in a threat to Israel. Ordinary operations against Israel, the near-daily drone and rocket strikes that have taken place since shortly after the eruption of the Israel-Hamas war on October 7th would resume on Friday, he said. The retaliation for Shukr's killing would come later. And then one other thing at the bottom of this article I'll show you. You can barely see it, but you can see it right now. Oops. Let me show you this. I got to move this up on the screen so you can see what I'm looking at. Oops. It says, and those seeking to prevent a wider war should work on a Gaza ceasefire, Nasrallah said. Instead of knocking on Hezbollah's door, there will be no solution except via stopping the aggression on Gaza, he said. So again, I know the title of this broadcast is that Israel is waiting for Iran's response, but this is relevant here because Hezbollah is heavily supported by Iran. So we don't know when this response comes from Iran, Will it be in partnership with Hezbollah? Will it be one big response for both things? Or will there be two separate responses for the two assassinations? I honestly don't know. So we will have to see. All right, I want to take some comments from you guys, but that article was from Reuters. Yeah, Danny G says last time it was. In the April response, I'll show you here. You can see this Wikipedia page, the 2024 Iranian strikes against Israel. On April 13th, Iran's attack sent around 170 drones, over 30 cruise missiles, and more than 120 ballistic missiles towards Israel and the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights. Yeah, wasn't it carried out by, yes, executed by Iran, Houthis, Hezbollah, Islamic resistance in Iraq. So Iran and 3 proxy forces. Hey, a quick thanks to Anna and Krister61, our new members. Thanks so much to Kate Skelton, who says, get yourself an extra large coffee. Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Janet Burnett, for the gift memberships and for your support, Janet. Thank you, Gordon Gott, who says the vibe is really tense. Thanks, Ali C, for the gift memberships. Katie Girl. Let's take some comments from you. So what do you guys think about what is going to happen here? How is this going to play out? Are we going to get one response from Iran and one response from Hezbollah? Or are we going to get, one big response, including both? Oh, maybe we'll do a poll question. Maybe we'll do a poll question. Peaches Rambo says nothing burger. Well, it wouldn't be a news live stream unless I had some people in the chat saying nothing's going to happen and nothing burger. Pretty much every big thing I covered. I remember in the lead up to Ukraine, it's a nothing burger. You're fear mongering. Nothing's going to happen. I remember when we started covering the pandemic in China. Oh, it's a nothing burger. You're fear mongering. Nothing's going to happen. So I could go on and on with this, but it just wouldn't be a news coverage without that in the chat. Yeah, nothing ever happens. That's another one people say. Nothing ever happens. Yep, nothing ever happens, ever. Nothing has ever happened on the news. We've never covered a real event. Hang on a moment here. I want to do a poll. Will Iran and Hezbollah respond at separate times? Yes or no? I'm going to do that poll. Will Iran and Hezbollah, which is backed by Iran, respond at separate times or the same time? That is the question. I'm posting this right now. I'm posting it right now. Let's see what you guys have to say. Okay, our YouTube viewers say, ooh, they're kind of split. Our YouTube viewers are split. 53% say they will not respond at separate times, so perhaps the same time. 47% say the same time. Then over there on Twitch, we have most of the Twitch viewers thinks they'll respond at the same time. 34% say separate times. 68% say not at separate times. Joseph Gladkowski thinks the same time would increase the odds of missiles making it through air defense. Oh my gosh, you just reminded me of something, Joseph. I have something neat to show you guys. I'm going to show you in a second. I have something very neat to talk about and show you. Thanks for reminding me. All right, I'm going to end the poll now. I'm going to end the poll in a second, but I appreciate you guys voting. Oh, thanks so much to Tech Phone for your support. Thanks, Tech Phone. Ryan Bond says, I wonder if there's a limit on the Iron Dome shooting down missiles. So I think the Iron Dome is technically for like more short-range projectiles like rockets, but Israel has other systems that can shoot down missiles. But I'm going to show you something about this in a second. So give me a moment. I'm going to show you something. Novo says they might respond on Friday night because of the Sabbath. That's what Novo says. Night Hunter says they usually alert aviation. So one thing that we might see before is the announcement in Iran of closure of airspace. I'm not aware that there's any kind of significant closure of airspace there or anywhere else right now, but I will certainly certainly let you know if there is. And a reminder, we will be covering tonight in a separate stream. We will be doing a stream when the hostages, the freed hostages from Russia, get back into the U.S. They're supposed to arrive around 11:30, and I'll come on sometime before that. I hope to have the footage of the plane, but I'm not sure I will. We'll have to just see if I can get a hold of that footage. But that's a stream coming up tonight. It'll be a different stream coming up tonight. So I hope you can join for that. Okay. Leanna says, too bad lately there is too much breaking news to cover it all. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't get on this morning for the hostage thing. It's just that we've been so busy that I wasn't able to get on for it. But we'll cover that story tonight. Hey, thanks to Levi Hild. Thank you so much, Levi. That's really kind of you. Thank you. And Aaron Easton as well. Thank you, Aaron. And I know people are sending me messages and stuff, so I'm trying to read a few messages too. Hold on a moment. Our viewer, Steve Griffith, sent me something that Faytux News posted. Faytux News said a leader of the Islamic Resistance of Iraq told AFP that Iran will lead the first response against Israel with the participation of Iraqi, Yemeni, and Syrian factions, striking military targets, followed by a second response from Hezbollah. I don't know that that's true. So the Islamic Resistance of Iraq is, I believe, an Iraqi militia supported by Iran. So I don't know if that's true. You know, I think it's true. I think it's true that the person in that militia group really told AFP that. But I have no idea if that's exactly true. So again, what AFP reported was that the person told them that Iran will lead the first response against Israel with participation of Iraqi, Yemeni, and Syrian factions, striking military targets, followed by a second response by Hezbollah. By the way, it certainly would be in Iran's interest to put out false information about what the coming attack will be. Not that Israel's really going to believe what they read in the press, but, you know, it'd be much better for Iran to put out false information about what the nature of the attack is going to be rather than true information. Our viewer, BTC Ma, says they, of course, would never reveal that. So it's an interesting idea, but I'm not going to read into that stuff too much. But that also reminded me that Faytux also mentioned this article from Walla News, which I want to discuss. So I appreciate Faytux. Faytux is a good person to follow for some current event stuff. Faytuks News, at Faytuks, posting a lot about this situation. So another article I wanted to actually mention is there's a Israeli news outlet called Walla News, which had some interesting stuff, which I just want to talk about for a second. There's a bunch of stuff I want to talk about, but let me just skim it over. Walla News reported today that it's Walla, Walla News. Barak Ravid actually wrote the article. I know, I didn't realize he wrote the article. He reports for Axios and CNN as well, Barak Ravid. He's an Israeli reporter. Hang on. So Barak Ravid wrote in Walla News. First of all, Barak Ravid posted today, he said, on Axios, he said, the Biden administration is convinced Iran is going to attack Israel within days in retaliation for the assassination of the Hamas political leader in Tehran and is preparing to counter it. And also something else I want to mention, which we haven't even discussed yet, is Axios and the New York Times are saying that the assassination in Tehran was by a bomb. But hold on a second. Just hold up. We'll talk about that in a second. I don't want to get too distracted. There's too many things to talk about. We'll talk about that shortly. I wanted to mention what Walla News is reporting. So Barak Ravid, in his article in Walla News, said, senior American officials say they expect the Iranian retaliatory action to be similar to the Iranian attack on April 13th, but larger in scope and likely also involving Hezbollah. Let me read that again. I messed that up. Barak Ravid reports for Walla News that senior American officials say they expect the Iranian retaliatory action to be similar to the Iranian attack on April 13th, but larger in scope and likely also involving Hezbollah. Senior officials in the Biden administration fear it will be difficult to mobilize an international coalition like the one that stopped the previous Iranian attack. That's what he is saying. Let's see. So he points out, what he says is that the previous coalition included some Arab countries like Jordan and Saudi Arabia, which helped shoot down Iranian and Houthi drones and allowed the U.S. or Israel to use their airspace. He says that since the assassination of the Hamas leader was in Tehran, and not an Iranian general in Damascus, it may be more difficult for them to mobilize the same international and regional coalition of countries. Barak Ravid in Walla News also says that it would probably take several days for Iran and the representatives of other parties to coordinate and prepare an attack on Israel. Okay. A senior Israeli official said Israeli intelligence estimates Iran will respond with a very broad missile attack against Israel. This is all reporting from Barak Ravid in Walla News, an Israeli outlet. Okay, so those are just some things that he's reporting. I don't know that that's true, that these things will turn out. But again, in some of the things Barak Ravid is reporting is that it's expected this will be happening in the coming days. He reports that it's expected to be bigger than the attack on April 13th from Iran. It's expected it would involve Hezbollah. And he reports it's expected it'll be a very broad missile attack. But these things might not be true. These are just things that he has heard from different, officials and sources he has. So that's interesting. I don't know, did somebody, I kind of want to post the, hang on one moment here. I'm going to take your comments on that in a second. Oh, that was in the Axios article too. That article was also in Axios. I didn't realize that. I was reading the Wall of News article. I think he kind of basically he does reporting for multiple outlets. Yeah, the Axios article says the Axios article says U.S. officials say they expect the retaliation to be from the same playbook as April 13th, as Iran's April 13th attack on Israel, but potentially larger in scope, and could also involve Hezbollah. Okay. I just reposted a link to the article on my X account that Evelyn News posted, but it's from Axios. At Lookner on X is where I am on X. All right, so just that's a sampling of what one very well respected and well sourced reporter, Barak Ravid, is hearing about this upcoming response. Yes, Shai Lavi says, are there new details about how Haniyeh died? So there's some new reporting. I can't confirm it's true, but I'm going to talk about that shortly. Axios and the New York Times are saying that a bomb is what killed Haniyeh, not a missile strike. We'll talk about that shortly. Hey, thanks Kristen Gates for your support, and also Kim Rivard for the gift memberships and for becoming a member. Also, Adopt a Pitbull, Save a Life. Thanks for your support. Adopt a Pitbull thinks Israel knows exactly what Iran is setting up. Thank you, Sunflower, for your support. Also, 5G. 5G said their donation should cover a nothing burger and a nothing coffee. Thank you. Richard Canuck, thank you. Do experts believe Hezbollah has access to weapons of mass destruction? There is no reporting and no expert I've seen who says that Hezbollah is going to use weapons of mass destruction. Whether they have access to them, I mean, just as a theoretical question, well, they're supported by Iran. I would assume that if Iran does, they in theory could. Again, there is no reporting whatsoever suggesting any kind of significant possibility of Hezbollah using weapons of mass destruction. That would probably risk the destruction of Hezbollah. But in terms of what it has, that I don't know. But also, again, they're very close to Iran, so I would assume Iran could get them things. There's a whole article on Wikipedia, Hezbollah arms strength. I don't want to go down the road of a big discussion of whether, in theory, Hezbollah could get their hands on weapons of mass destruction. It's a little off topic. But it's an interesting thing to keep in mind, maybe for the future. Anyways, there's a little paragraph on it in the Wikipedia article. It says, there is no evidence Hezbollah has acquired chemical, biological, or nuclear weapons. There's been much speculation and concern about Hezbollah's potential acquisition of chemical weapons. Who knows? Again, they're very close to Iran, so who knows? Thank you, Richard Canuck. Thank you also, Clay Stalka, and Levi Heald, and Xander Hatmaker. Hander thinks Iran isn't going to seriously attack. They telegraph for a reason. They're scared, and they want Israel to intercept. That is what Xander believes. You know, there's this question of, of how serious an attack does Iran want this to be? You know, something I raised the possibility of in our coverage last night, and I'll say it again, is, look, Iran just suffered, like, I think what would widely be seen as, well, certainly it's widely seen as very embarrassing for them to have had their guest at the Iranian president's inauguration, the political leader of Hamas, Haniyeh, was visiting Iran and staying in a Iranian government guest house, and he was killed, assassinated, allegedly by Israel. I'm going to say by Israel because that seems like what happened. That is really embarrassing for Iran. It's really, it's done in Tehran, in the capital. It was done with somebody who was a guest of theirs, a very prominent person. So that is a real, it's very provocative. It's very embarrassing from Iran. It's very threatening to Iran. And that came just hours after Israel killed the top commander in Hezbollah in the suburbs of Beirut, the capital of Lebanon. And remember, Hezbollah is basically an Iranian proxy group. So those two killings, you know, I would think in Iran, they might look at that and say, we need to do something about this. I would not be surprised at all if Iran is not just saying, well, we need to look like we're responding, but we don't want it to go too far. I would think in Iran, something they might be saying is, Israel's starting to go crazy. Israel feels like they can do this stuff with impunity. Look at what they're doing. We need to have Israel check itself. So we need to make Israel know that they can't just start doing whatever they want like this. So if they think that way, then they're going to want to do something to Israel that actually has some bite to it. I don't know if this is the thinking in Iran, but I wouldn't be surprised if at least some people in Iran are saying, like, this is crazy. Israel is just off the rails, and they just think they will never get punished for doing any of this stuff, and we need to send them a big message. So, you know, I would certainly think, I mean, I actually think an argument can be made that that's what they are thinking. I think there's an argument to be made that that would be the most likely thing they're thinking in Iran. But I don't know, so we'll have to see. But I mean, look at what just happened. Just think about these two events that just happened. Nutsy thinks life doesn't matter to Iran. Soleimani Haniyeh. Sicilian says, isn't it believed Israel has nuclear weapons? Yes, Israel does have nuclear weapons. No one's talking about nuclear weapons getting used right now, but Israel is one of the countries that has nuclear weapons. If you want to see a list, you can go to this website, which is I'll give you another one. Here's a simple. You can find a bunch of different lists of this. But, for example, list of states with nuclear weapons. Israel is generally understood to have nuclear weapons but does not acknowledge it, maintaining a policy of deliberate ambiguity. Israel is estimated to possess somewhere between 75 and 400 nuclear warheads. But again, nobody's talking about them using them at this point. No, Iran does not have nuclear weapons. Moose's Backyard, our viewer, thinks Iran's previous attack, despite massive, was more of a warning, a probe of Israel's defense capabilities. If Iran attacks again, now they have to show what they're capable of or risk losing deterrence power, thinks Moose's Backyard. It probably has to be coordinated with Hezbollah to be effective. Interesting, Moose's Backyard. That actually is going to lead to something I want to show next. I have two things I want to talk about next. I want to talk about, you know what I'm going to do next? The next thing I talk about is I want to show you something from the Institute for the Study of War about, well, how they think this attack, the Iranian attack, might go. We're going to do that next. And then after that, I'll talk about the reports saying that Haniyeh was actually killed by a bomb. The Vladinator thinks Iran has a nuclear weapon breakout capacity of a week. I don't know if that's the case. I've heard different estimates, but I will say this: I don't want to get the stream is not about nuclear weapons, and I don't want to get down that road. But Israel, I believe, has repeatedly said they would not allow Iran to have nuclear weapons. So. I'd like to see if I can find something about that, but I'm sure I have read that in the past. Also, like, I'm looking at an article from June of 2023 from Radio Free Europe. And the article is, Secretary of State Blinken reiterated the Biden administration's firm stance that Iran will never be allowed to obtain a nuclear weapon. So the U.S. says it. Yes, and I'm looking at an article from VOA from last year where it says an Israeli official said Israel will prevent Iran from acquiring a capability to become a nuclear armed state. So that's the policy. And then Netanyahu said last year Israel will do everything in its power to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them. Just to be clear on that. Anyways, it's a little off topic, so I don't want to get all caught up on that. Let's talk about, first of all, let me just check for updates here. By the way, just so you know, Biden talked to Netanyahu today. Let me show you what they said, what the White House reports they said. Check it out. Readout of Biden's call with Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel. President Biden spoke today with Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel. The president reaffirmed his commitment to Israel's security against all threats from Iran, including its proxy terrorist groups Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. The president discussed efforts to support Israel's defense against threats, including against ballistic missiles and drones, to include new defensive U.S. military deployments. Together with this commitment to Israel's defense, the president stressed the importance of ongoing efforts to de-escalate broader tensions in the region. Vice President Harris also joined on the call. Clearly, the possible Iran response to Israel and Hezbollah response to Israel for these assassinations was discussed on this call. So they talked today. Quick thanks to our moderators who are here. We have, right now, Ruth Krafasi is moderating. Thank you so much, Ruth. Appreciate that. She's over there on YouTube. On Twitch, we have Good Luck Duck, Hearsay, Idaho Star, I Got That Fire, Papa Bear, Sharon C54, Surly Dev, and Traveling Slim. Thank you. Speaking of Twitch, thanks to Aaron Weirdo for your support on Twitch. Hurricane Ben 19, thank you for your support. Lacere, thanks for your support on Twitch. Also Clearly Crystal Clear and Linnea Supernatural and Timido1 and Relila and Dan58104 and Barker J. Roar and Jad2796. Thanks for your support over there on Twitch. And Wonko the Sane. Thanks for your support on Twitch. Thanks to our Facebook moderators, Paul Anderson, Margaret Riley, Kay Lowry Body, Linda Belk, and Larry moderating on X. Thanks to all of our moderators. So I was just doing a quick check for updates here. I have something I want to show you next. Hang on a moment. Hang on a moment. Sorry, and people sending me messages too, so I want to check people's messages too. So much stuff to check. Missile Hatch mentions there was a White House press briefing. Yeah, if we have time, we'll look at it. I don't know if we'll have time during this stream, but if we have time, maybe we'll check it out. Also a reminder, sometimes, I get stuff from people and they send me news tips and it's like somebody on social media or some social media account claiming something and they don't say where they got the information and the account is not a news account. So, I don't know where these people are getting this stuff, and a lot of times it turns out to be false. So I'm not like passing all that stuff along. I appreciate the news tips, but if it's just a random person on social media that I would have no reason to think has good information, then I'm not going to report on that. Okay, here's what I want to show you. So I wanted to show you this. I found what I thought was some really good analysis of the situation with the possible Iranian strike on Israel in Institute for the Study of War, which is a really cool organization. Oops, you can't see that. Institute for the Study of War. They are like a research group, who we are. The Institute for the Study of War advances an informed understanding of military affairs through reliable research, trusted analysis, and innovative education. So understandingwar.org, understandingwar.org. So they come out with these regular updates, and they posted an update recently about a possible Iranian attack. And I want to show you some of that because I thought it was really interesting. Yes, here it is. Again, I'll actually post a link to this in the chat. And I do appreciate that they have given me permission to show their reports on the air, which I really do appreciate from them. So I'm going to post a link to the ISW article in the chat so you can check it out too. So I want to show you this. It's really interesting. Iran is signaling that it will retaliate directly for Israel killing Haniyeh. That was the leader, Hamas political leader, who was killed in Tehran a couple days ago. The Iranian Supreme National Security Council, which is the senior-most Iranian defense and foreign policy body, held an emergency meeting on July 31st to discuss the killing of Haniyeh. Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei attended this meeting, which is rare but normal during serious crises, including immediately following when the U.S. killed Soleimani. 3 anonymous Iranian officials told the New York Times that Khamenei ordered a direct strike on Israel during this meeting. Khamenei later published a statement that blamed Israel directly and vowed retaliation. The Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps similarly published a statement saying that the axis of resistance, and especially Iran, will retaliate against Israel. Iran separately raised the red flag of Imam Hossein over the Jamkaran Mosque in Qom, which signals an Iranian intent to seek revenge. Iran similarly raised the red flag after the U.S. killed Soleimani. Now, this is very interesting. One of the most dangerous courses of action would be Iran and other members of the axis of resistance. That would be like the Houthis and Hezbollah and Iranian-controlled militia in Iraq. One of the most dangerous courses of action, Institute for the Study of War says, would be Iran and other members of the axis of resistance conducting a large-scale combined drone and missile attack into Israel. So check out this analysis from ISW. Iran could launch an attack similar to the one it conducted against Israel in April 2024, which involved around 300 drones and ballistic and cruise missiles. Iran could target multiple locations in Israel or mass its fire on a single target. Using a large strike package against even a single target could still appear as a widespread attack. This scenario would also involve simultaneous attacks from other members of the axis of resistance, such as Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, and Iranian-backed militias in Iraq and Syria. Such a combined Iranian axis of resistance attack would be especially dangerous because attacking from multiple directions would put greater pressure on Israeli air defenses than the Iranian attack in April 2024 did. The United States and Israel were furthermore able to defend against the Iranian attack in April 2024 so effectively, in part because it took the attack drones several hours to get from Iran to Israel. That hours-long period gave the United States, Israel, and their regional partners time to prepare their defenses and to intercept all of the drones. The United States and Israel would have far less warning and opportunity to intercept if the axis of resistance launched large swarms of drones from Iraq, Lebanon, or Syria toward Israel. Hezbollah may be especially incentivized to participate in such an attack given its desire to retaliate for the killing of Shukr, the Hezbollah commander, at the time of this writing. CTP/ISW has noted previously that Hezbollah and the Houthis have probed Israel's air defenses to better understand its strengths and weaknesses. So that is very interesting analysis from the Institute of Study of War. What they're saying is, again, that it was easier for Israel and the U.S. to stop Iran's attack in April because the attack drones, I think there were 100, they say it involved around 300 drones. They were launched from Iran and it took hours to get there. But Lebanon is right next to Israel. I mean, let me just pull a map up here. Do they have a map here? Posted? Yeah, hold on. I'll just pull up Google Maps so you get a kind of a regional picture. I want you to get a regional picture of what's going on. Oops, let me pull this up here. Here it is. I got the Google map for you. Oops. So let's just peek at the map. Oops, you can't see it. You're going to be able to see it in a second. You will see it in a second. There you go. Okay. Here is our map. Oops, that was our map. Let's do this again. Here is our map. I keep doing this. Let's try one more time. Here is our map. So, there is Israel. You can see Lebanon is right next to Israel. Syria is right next to Israel. Iraq is much closer to Israel, especially Western Iraq, than Iran is. But, you know, if there are drones launched from Lebanon into Israel, it's not going to take them hours to get there like it takes drones from Iran to reach Israel, because Lebanon is right next to Israel. And Syria is right next to Israel. So it's very interesting point they make that, you know, maybe in this attack, Iran would launch a bunch of drones from right next to Israel. Again, so I'm going to put, it's a very interesting article. I'm going to post a link to this again, but very interesting analysis there. Oh, and let me show you something else from this too. So I just was showing you the July 31st one. Where did that go? So I was showing you the July 31st report. Again, one of the most dangerous courses of action would be Iran and other members of the Axis of resistance conducting a large-scale combined drone and missile attack into Israel. So I'm going to post a link to this Institute for the Study of War article, understandingwar.org, and I just posted the link to it in the chat. And let me also show you what they said in their July 30th update. They said Hezbollah may decide, in order to restore deterrence with Israel, it needs to conduct a more significant attack that targets civilian and military areas deep inside Israel. So, So this report, the Institute for the Study of War came out with this report after Israel killed the top Hezbollah commander. I think this was on Tuesday. And they killed this commander with an airstrike in a suburb of Beirut, Lebanon. So after that happened, but before Israel killed, apparently, the Hamas leader in Tehran, the Institute for the Study of War came out with this analysis. And here they talk about what how Hezbollah might respond to this. Remember, as I told you earlier, the leader of Hezbollah said today that there will be a definite response to Israel's killing of the top commander. That's not the assassination in Iran. That's the assassination of the Hezbollah commander a few hours before the assassination in Iran. So I think it's interesting what the Institute for the Study of War says about that. Again, this article is from July 30th. They say Hezbollah may decide to respond with a major rocket and drone barrage on northern Israel that resembles previous Hezbollah attacks in retaliation for previous IDF strikes on senior commanders. And again, remember, this analysis was written before the second assassination. But it's interesting here. They say Hezbollah has previously responded by launching salvos of 100+ rockets targeting Israeli Defense Force bases in northern Israel and the Golan Heights. Hezbollah could attempt to build a strike package it calibrates to avoid a strong Israeli response, thereby allowing tensions on the border to diffuse and return to the standard tit-for-tat attacks. Hezbollah's strike package would presumably be larger and strike deeper into Israel than past retaliatory strikes, given the seniority of Shuker, the commander who was killed. However, Israeli sources said immediately after the strike targeting Shuker that this would be the extent of Israel's response to the rocket that hit the soccer field in Majdal Shams on last weekend. Hezbollah officials said on July 29th, Hezbollah did not want all-out war. However, there remains the risk that even a carefully calculated strike package by Hezbollah would unintentionally strike a sensitive target in Israel and prompt further escalation. But remember, we were talking about deterrence? Hezbollah may decide, in order to restore deterrence with Israel, that means getting Israel to be afraid enough that Israel moderates its own behavior and restrains itself. Hezbollah may decide that in order to restore deterrence with Israel, Hezbollah needs to conduct a more significant attack that targets civilian and military areas deep inside Israel. This is the less likely, but the more dire course of action. Hezbollah could calculate that the Israeli strike targeting a senior Hezbollah leader in Beirut, who was personally close to the leader of Hezbollah, Nasrallah, crosses a red line and requires a strong Hezbollah show of force to restore deterrence. A senior Lebanese Hezbollah official told Al Jazeera before the targeted strike on Shukr that Hezbollah would respond to any attack on Lebanon and that Hezbollah is capable of striking military installations in Haifa, the Golan Heights, and Ramat David. Nasrallah threatened on July 17th to attack civilian targets deep into Israel in response to Israeli airstrikes that kill Lebanese civilians. The Israeli strike in southern Beirut killed at least 3 people and injured 74. So, again, this analysis was posted after the first assassination of the Hezbollah commander, but before the second one in Tehran. But I would say this same reasoning, what I've been saying is this same reasoning could apply to Iran. I feel like Iran could be thinking the same thing. We need to deter Israel from continuing to just carry out these attacks, these very provocative attacks of these high officials in the capital of Lebanon, in the capital of Iran. So that would be an argument for a more serious response from Hezbollah and Iran. I'll post a link to this update in the chat. And I just posted the link there. Again, this site is called the Institute for the Study of War. They post these updates regularly. I think that they might have a mailing list. They definitely have a Twitter feed too, which I'll show you. But it is understandingwar.org, and it's a really great site for military analysis. And I really appreciate them allowing me to show their reports on the air. Thank you, Institute for the Study of War. You can find them on X at ISW, I think. Let's see. Yes. The Institute for the Study of War, I follow them on X. They are at the Study of War. At the Study of War. So, anyways, they really do some interesting, thoughtful analysis of possible of military activity and possible, military actions and that kind of thing. Amber Marie thinks that's what they're going to do. Yes, Malice Bixie said they also do a great job of documenting the Ukrainian war. That's where I first found them, is when I was following and covering the Ukraine war. Okay. No, they do not sponsor. They don't pay me anything. I asked them. I said, "Can I show your reports on the air? Because I like them so much." And they said, "Go right ahead." So they are. I would tell you. I wouldn't have a sponsor without telling you. They do not sponsor anything. If they want to sponsor, they're welcome to sponsor. Believe me. But no, it's really nice of them to let me show some of their reports. Okay, let me take some comments from you guys here. A quick reminder: we will be covering tonight after this stream. I'll take a break after this stream, and then at 11:30 tonight, the freed hostages from Russia are supposed to land back in the U.S. So I'm going to be coming on the air to cover that later. I'm hoping to have footage of it, but either way, we're going to be doing coverage of it tonight. And then we didn't actually do a hostage stream earlier today, so we'll talk about that when we come back and do that stream tonight. Okay? Okay, let me take some comments here. From you guys. Obadiah Stain has twice said in the chat, why are you covering this? Nothing is happening. Well, Obadiah Stain, I guess you think that news coverage should only ever happen when military activity is happening. So I guess we just fundamentally disagree on news coverage. I think it's important to cover even when it's not actually happening. I think there's a lot of interesting information going on. But the good news is you are free to turn the channel. Nobody is making you or watch something else. Nobody is making you watch. So that's good news for you. I have great news for you. You don't have to watch. How about that? Your day is now free. Your day is now free. You can do what you want. You have permission. Thank you to Farzad Khanipur for your support. Thank you also, Rodrigo GRM, for your support. Rodrigo says, the April attack was designed to fail and warned in advance through internal channels. It won't be like that this time. You know, I'm not going to read it now, and I've seen that kind of analysis before. The Institute for the Study of War, maybe we'll show this later. I'm not going to show it right this second. They have a report on the April attack where they actually feel that the April attack was intended to cause more damage than it did. And they feel, if I'm remembering this right, that they thought that Israel and its partners wouldn't be as effective shooting down the missiles as they were. So it's an interesting question on how much damage that April attack was supposed to cause. It's an interesting question. I'm not an expert on that topic, but you can go to their site and read it. Understandingwar.org, I think it is, if I remembered that right. But maybe, you know, on a future stream, we'll talk about that report because it's a very interesting, understandingwar.org. But maybe on a future stream, we'll look at that report because it's very interesting. Zach A. Thanks, Zach. Zach mentions poly market odds. I'll have to peek at it. I don't, off the top of my head, what would the bet be on poly market? Like, will Iran strike Israel? I guess in theory there could be. I don't know if they have one there. They have this. I take it back. There you go. It's a little funky. I don't know how this one works. So Polymarket is a betting site. Thank you, Zach A, by the way, for your support. Polymarket is a betting site where people can bet on like news events. They're not a sponsor, and I'm not endorsing them. I think it's interesting to show their odds sometimes. Their odds just depend on how people are betting. So they have one bet, Iran military response by August 12th. Now, it's a little weird because someone needs to decide what is Iran military response. So people are betting money on this, but who decides what counts as a military response? Also, if like Hezbollah does something and they're backed by Iran, I guess that doesn't count as Iran. So I wonder if there's like I feel like there should be a more detailed description of what exactly counts as Iran military response. So maybe there is somewhere. There might be somewhere here a description of that. I don't know how that's determined. You can see it says 87% chance, which certainly makes sense. I don't know how that is determined. Yeah, look, okay. This market will resolve to yes if Iran initiates a military action on Israeli soil. Oh, I take it back. I take it back, guys. Polymarket's on it. They are on it. They have a specific description. Here you go. This market will resolve to yes if Iran initiates a military action on Israeli soil, airspace, or maritime territory between July 30th and August 12th, 2024. So they just got this market up there. Otherwise, this market will resolve to no. For the purposes of this market, a military action will be considered to be any use of force executed by Iran on Israeli soil, airspace, or maritime territory. E.g., if a weapons depot on Israeli soil is hit by an Iranian missile, this market will resolve to yes. It must be officially acknowledged by the Iranian government or a consensus of credible reporting. This includes, but is not limited to, airstrikes, naval attacks, or ground invasions. Cyber attacks, sanctions, or diplomatic actions will now count toward the resolution of this market. Only responses from Iranian forces explicitly claimed by the Islamic Republic of Iran or confirmed to have originated from Iranian territory will count toward the resolution of this market. Attacks on Israel by proxy forces like Hezbollah and the Houthis will not count toward the resolution of this market. Okay. Well, that's exactly what I was saying they needed to have, and they had, good for them, and they had it. So that's what I was saying. Otherwise, people would be betting on this and then be arguing over what happened. So as you can see, so if you look down here, the market only opened on July 31st. And when it opened, it was around like 59%, but it quickly went up to, now it's at 87%. And the way just so you can get your mind around how the odds work there, basically you make a bet and then you'd get $1 back. So right now, if you bet 87 cents on yes, and then Iran does do a military response to Israel by August 12th, you'll win 13 cents because you'll get $1 back, but you'll have given them, you'll put 87 cents in and then you get $1 back. So you get, you win 13 cents on your 87 cent bet. Whereas if you bet on no, you bet 14 cents and you'll win 86 cents because you'll get $1 back on your 14 cents. So again, they do not sponsor the broadcast. I'm not endorsing it. I do not personally gamble on gamble generally, and also specifically gamble on news events. But I and other news outlets will sometimes look at their site to get a feeling for what people are thinking. And so this can be a good window into what people are thinking because people are betting money on this stuff, and the odds are just going to go up and down based on how much money comes in on each side. So I do appreciate Polymarket letting me show their odds to let you guys see what the betting market is saying about this. So anyways, I just wanted to, I think that it was interesting to check that out. Thank you, Zach, for the suggestion. Oh, wow, Randy Schlever. That is really kind of you. Randy, thanks. Randy's a huge supporter of the channel. I really, really appreciate all of Randy's support. Randy says, I think it's going to be a busy weekend here. Hey, thank you so much, Randy, for all your support of the channel. Really nice of you. No, I will not. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be betting on it. That's not what I do here. But I appreciate that Harry sound. Thanks for your support. And also David Peltier. Thanks, David Peltier, and our new member, Trent Swanson, and DeShark, and Gregory Albright. Gregory Albright gave 50 people memberships. Wow. That's a lot of memberships. Thank you, Gregory. Georgina Stoliker also gave out gift memberships. Thank you. And DeShark gave 20 people memberships. Hey, thanks, DeShark. That's really nice of you. And did I thank everybody? Martin Gingrich. Thank you, Martin. Martin says, I feel so bad for Iranian civilians. Martin thinks they want no part of the radical behavior of their leaders. Thank you, Martin. And also Mr. Hammond for your support. And Zach A. Again, thanks, Zach, for your support. Thanks for your support of the channel. Okay, let's see here. Hang on a moment. Hang on a moment. Also, thanks to Smochizuki for your support on Twitch. Okay, so, and again, quick reminder, I know I said it before, we will be doing a stream tonight where we cover the hostages returning to the U.S. I'll probably start that stream around like 10:30 or something like that, I think. That's my thought on that. That's going to be a different stream tonight. Obviously, if stuff happens in Israel, we're going to just cover that whenever it happens. It's 1:09 a.m. there. You can see that is the shot of Tel Aviv from AP. And then, do I still have the shot from AFP? Here is the shot of Jerusalem from AFP. That's Jerusalem right there. That's not Tel Aviv. That is Jerusalem. That's Tel Aviv. And that's Jerusalem from AFP. So we'll keep an eye out. Okay, and we haven't even talked about yet. We haven't even gotten to it yet. The story about the bomb, the reports that a bomb actually killed Haniyeh in Iran. So I want to talk about that. Hang on one moment here. Oh, thanks so much to Kay Body, our moderator, for giving some gift memberships out. Thanks so much, Kay. That's really nice of you. Sarah McNamara says, I hope this doesn't escalate. Unfortunately, it looks like we're headed towards some sort of escalation. Okay, so I want to mention here, Axios and the New York Times are both reporting that a bomb actually killed Haniyeh in Tehran. Haniyeh is was the political leader of Hamas, and he was visiting Iran for the inauguration of the new Iranian president, and he was staying in a government-controlled guest house, and he was killed there. And initial reports, I believe a Hamas official said yesterday that it was a missile that struck Haniyeh, but some new reporting came out today. I don't know what's true exactly. So let me talk a bit about that. Okay, so the New York Times has a report today which said, I'm just going to summarize it. The headline of the New York Times report is, bomb smuggled into Tehran guest house months ago killed Hamas leader. How about that? The New York Times is reporting that it was a bomb smuggled into this guest house months ago. Months ago. By the way, the Times also ran a picture that it says is of the guest house. So this is a post from Christian Trebert yesterday, and he is with the New York Times. And he said, an Iranian official shared this image with Farnaz Fasihi of the New York Times, and it is circulating on Telegram. The green cloth and rubble in the picture is visible, and he also had another post said that you can see a satellite shot of the same building 5 days before, and there's no green cloth and there's no rubble. So reportedly, that is the building where in northern Tehran, where the attack happened. And Christian Trebert also said this building is near the president's official residence in Tehran. Okay? So just to give you a picture there, again, that's Christian Trebert with the New York Times. So the New York Times is reporting that a bomb smuggled into that building months ago killed the Hamas leader. And just to give you a little summary of some of the things in that article, they said that it was an explosive device secretly smuggled into the guest house. They said they talked to a number of Middle Eastern officials who told them this, and an American official. The New York Times claims the bomb was hidden around 2 months ago in the guest house. They say the guest house is run and protected by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which is part of the Iranian military. Okay? And the bomb, according to the New York Times, was remotely detonated once it was confirmed that Haniyeh was in his room. The Times also reported that Haniyeh had stayed at that guest house several times before when he was in Tehran. And let's see here. So also, according to the Times, there was a security gap at this supposedly tightly guarded compound that allowed a bomb to be planted a couple of months before Haniyeh was there. They say how the bomb was actually planted remains unclear. They say the planning for this required extensive surveillance of the area. It's interesting. They actually say in this report, the room where he was staying with his bodyguard, and the bodyguard was killed too, the room where he was staying was not badly damaged. How about that? Suggesting precise planning of the targeting of him. How did they know which room is a good question. I don't know if he stayed in that room before. Maybe it says that in here. But they somehow, again, according to this article, got the explosives into the room he was staying in. Yeah, Anthony says that kind of accuracy is wild. Look, I don't think this is a crazy theory, by the way. I mean, he got killed there somehow. He definitely got killed there in a strike which did not, like, blow up the building. Him and his bodyguard were killed. That picture I showed you that the New York Times had of the building does not show, like, huge damage to the building. We've not heard of anybody else killed. So, you know, it had to be something which didn't do huge damage to the building. You know, when I hear this, I don't say to myself, like, that's just a crazy possibility. I don't know if this is true. Now, just to be clear also, Axios, which is a different publication, has a similar article written by Barak Ravid. Okay? And they also say it was a bomb. So, hang on, let me show you something. Yeah. Barak Ravid said, 2 sources with knowledge confirmed to me that Haniyeh was assassinated by the Mossad with an explosive device planted in his bedroom. So it's not just the New York Times reporting this. It's 2 different outlets, the New York Times and Axios. And the Axios headline is, Planted Bomb, Remote Control, and AI, How the Mossad Killed Hamas's Leader in Iran. And what Axios says is, hold on a second here. The bomb was a high-tech device that used artificial intelligence. It was detonated remotely by Mossad operatives who were on Iranian soil after receiving intelligence that Haniyeh was indeed in the room. Now, what's the artificial intelligence? Is the artificial intelligence something where, like, it could detect, like, you know, if Haniyeh was there? Was there a camera in there or something that had facial recognition or something? I don't know. His voice? Oh, someone said, Frukartoffine said, could it detect his voice? Or, could it detect his phone or something? I don't know. I don't know. Now, you might say like, oh, this is too crazy sounding. But look what the actual event is crazy sounding, and it really happened. They really killed him in his room where he was staying in a guarded, enclosed compound in the capital of Iran. They did that. So, yeah, there might be some kind of crazy technology or plot here, but the actual event is crazy. Gordon Freeman thinks we won't know a lot of the details about this for a very, very long time. So they did it. They did it somehow. Again, I don't know for sure that this is what happened. The articles talk about various sources they have talked to. And in the New York Times article, they say they talked to, just to be clear, they say they talked to seven Middle Eastern officials, including 2 Iranians and an American official. Now, Joshua says maybe some type of small drone. Yeah, we had a viewer suggest that yesterday. Again, that's not what this is reporting is saying. Now, the drone, you'd have to get in there somehow. The thing about a bomb is you don't have to actually get it in the, it's already there. But, I'm not going to definitively say that this is what happened. I certainly find it believable. Maybe there'll be some more an evidence coming out, or maybe not. What I was going to say though is, I would not be surprised if there is maybe American surveillance. So, given that there was an explosion, if you told me, oh, the U.S. can detect that explosion, like on satellite or something, and then look at it and tell something about the type of explosion it was. I mean, I don't know for sure, but given that it was in a sensitive facility in Iran where Haniyeh was staying, I would not be surprised if the U.S. had some sort of intelligence about an explosion that occurred there and could maybe figure out what kind of thing exploded. Don't know for sure. I'm sure Israel has intelligence. I'll say that. Sure, Israel knows what happened. Thank you, Adopt a Pitbull, who thinks the Mossad is infiltrated inside the Revolutionary Guard Corps. Yeah, so, look, there's this question of like, does someone working there, are there people working in Iran who actually, Iranians who are actually Israeli agents? I don't know. But that would, how did it, the stories don't say how the bomb got in there. Thank you also, Sunflower, who says, Mossad can strike anyone, anywhere, anytime. And Martin Gingrich says, did anyone confirm it was Israel? Again, so I don't really realistically see anybody else it would be. Israel is, they haven't said anything so far, so my guess is they'll never say anything, at least in the near future. So, I mean, I guess the people you'd be looked to confirm it is Israel. But they're not saying anything about it. I don't really have any significant doubt that it was them. And hold on a second here. Yeah, look, and the New York Times says Israel has not publicly acknowledged responsibility for the killing, but Israeli intelligence officials briefed the United States and other Western governments on the details of the operation in the immediate aftermath, according to 5 Middle Eastern officials. So so the New York Times is reporting that the Israeli government did tell some other Western governments about it after it happened. Thank you, Martin. And Bone Mama, thanks for the gift memberships. Gordon Gott thinks his bodyguard wasn't a mole because he was killed. You never know. Thanks, Gordon. Yeah, Martin asked about an inside job. Again, it's not clear how the explosive actually, if it was an explosive. Look, whatever it was, whatever scenario it is, it's not clear if anyone in Iran was helping the Israelis get intelligence. I don't know that we'll ever get an answer to that question. But they had to clearly get this intelligence. There was somehow. Thank you, Martin. Thank you also, Ali Marzugi and Big E for the gift memberships. And Laura the Swamp Princess, the Swansons, Trenton and Laura in Omaha, Nebraska. Thank you. Okay, hold on a moment here. Let me just check for updates. I like to periodically check for updates to make sure I'm not missing anything that's coming out while we're discussing things. Things quiet at the moment there. I'm not hearing about any kind of stuff going on in Israel right now. Let me check. Some people are sending me things too. What is this? Again, people keep sending me things that like random accounts on social media are posting, and it's like nobody else is posting it, and I don't know where they're getting the information. I assume it's probably false. Cole Clifford thinks Israel had a pressure plate on the bed to activate the bomb. That's what Cole thinks. Now, just to be clear, the New York Times says it was remotely activated. That's what the New York Times said. They said it was remotely detonated. I don't know exactly what happened myself. Oh, Jen mentioned the aircraft to me. I don't know if right at the moment people are tracking the aircraft bringing back the prisoners. We can check very quickly. This is Flight Radar 24. Flight Radar 24 is awesome. It is great. Flight Radar 24 for flight tracking. You can go to flightradar24.com to check the site out. And the number one tracked plane is this one. Yeah, I would assume if people were tracking it, it would be like the number one thing. And I think maybe people were tracking it before, and maybe it's not being tracked right now, or it's not trackable. But yeah, I would have to imagine that if it was flying, there would be that if it were trackable, a lot more people would be tracking it. So I'm not seeing it among the top tracked flights. So my guess is it's not trackable at the moment. BTC Mas says transponder off. Again, I believe it may have been tracked a bit earlier. Now, maybe when it gets closer or something, it'll be trackable again. We will be doing coverage tonight of when it lands. It's supposed to land around 11:30. So we'll come on before then and talk about that whole story because we didn't cover it yet. Okay. Oh, thank you, Kitty Cat. Kitty Cat says, I wonder if they're waiting for cover of darkness to start retaliating. Well, just keep in mind, it is dark right now in Israel. It's 1:30 a.m. Israel time. Will they do it at night or during the day? I mean, I don't know. They did it in April at night, if I remember correctly. At April, it was around, I want to say 11 p.m. or midnight or something like that, if I remember correctly. Oh, thanks for the gift memberships, David Ferriello as well. Thanks, DK. DK says, when Iran struck last time, did we see a decrease in commercial air traffic on flight radar for a possible pre-attack indicator? So I believe that there were air restrictions in Iran when it happened, possibly other countries. I don't know exactly what flight radar said, but I'll say this. I follow a lot of different accounts that are really understand the flight radar stuff well and know it well. And if there is important stuff going on with the flight radar stuff, they will post about it. I don't know it well enough to look at it myself and say, whoa, that's so different than it normally is. I just don't know enough about it. But I follow so many accounts that if something is going on with the flight radar that's odd, they will post about it. And I will certainly let you know about it. I don't know, you will hear about NOTAMs, about airspace shutdowns if they happen. So if you start hearing about airspace shutdowns in Iran and elsewhere, that could be a sign that, and I've heard some analysts say that you would expect to see them in Iran before an attack happened, but we'll just have to see. Thanks, Jacob Camholes, for your support, and AM Coffee and Dodger Blue. Hey, let me show you something else that I saw. I want to show you this. So I guess this happened today already. I thought this was interesting. Reuters had an article. Iran and its proxies will meet to discuss retaliation against Israel. Oh, there's a little video too. I might show you a little video here. These are kind of interesting to show. Hold on. Let me maybe show you this. Maybe we'll watch a little Reuters video. Those can be kind of interesting. Hold on one moment here. One moment here. One moment here. I'm going to play a video for you. Oops. If I can get this to work. Where is this? Okay, I think we're good to go. I think we're good to go. Here we go. All right, we want this one. We want this one. Got to make sure I got the right one here. Is this the right one? No, that's one. Okay, we're going to watch a little video about the situation with Iran and Israel from Reuters that goes along with this article, that goes along with Iran, its proxies will meet to discuss retaliation against Israel, say sources. That was supposed to happen today. Actually, just to show you what the article says, it says, Top Iranian officials will meet the representatives of Iran's regional allies from Lebanon, Iraq, and Yemen today to discuss potential retaliation against Israel after the killing of the Hamas leader in Tehran, 5 sources told Reuters. The region faces a risk of widened conflict between Israel, Iran, and its proxies after Ismail Haniyeh's assassination in Tehran on Wednesday and the killing of Hezbollah's senior commander on Tuesday in an Israeli strike on the outskirts of the Lebanese capital, Beirut. Representatives of Iran's Palestinian allies, Hamas and the Islamic Jihad, as well as Yemen's Tehran-backed Houthi movement, Lebanon's Hezbollah, and Iraqi resistance groups will attend the meeting in Tehran, said the sources, which apparently took place today. Iran and the resistance members will conduct a thorough assessment after the meeting in Tehran to find the best and most effective way to retaliate against the Israeli regime, said a senior Iranian official. Another Iranian official said the Supreme Leader Khamenei and senior members of Iran's elite Revolutionary Guards will attend. Sounds like a pretty important meeting. A Iranian general told state TV how Iran and the resistance will respond is currently being reviewed. This will certainly happen, and Israel will undoubtedly regret it. Let's take a peek at this video. This is from Reuters. It's from that article. So we'll check this out and see what it has to say. If I can get this to play. Here we go. Let's see this.
The killing of Hamas's top political leader in Iran early Wednesday is fueling concern of a wider Middle East war and threatening to set back chances of an imminent ceasefire deal in the Gaza conflict between Israel and the Iran-backed Hamas. People gathered in the Iranian capital Tehran on Wednesday to mourn Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh and demand retaliation. The attack was widely assumed to have been carried out by Israel, coming less than 24 hours after its military said it had killed senior Hezbollah commander Fuad Shukr. He's seen here in video released by the Lebanese militant group.
Israel will continue to...
However, the Israeli government has made no claim of responsibility over Haniyeh's killing. Spokesman David Menser.
We did target Fuad Shukr. He was the number 2 in the Hezbollah organization, a dastardly terrorist. On Ismail Haniyeh, we are not commenting on that particular incident.
Menser told journalists that Israel remained committed to the Gaza ceasefire negotiations and securing the release of Israeli hostages. Haniyeh had been the face of Hamas's international diplomacy, taking part in the truce talks brokered by Egypt, Qatar and the United States. Qatar condemned Haniyeh's killing, with its prime minister saying on social media, quote, "How can mediation succeed when one party assassinates the negotiator on the other side?" However, Washington has said it still believes a ceasefire was achievable. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken told Singaporean TV that his country played no part in Haniyeh's killing.
This is something we were not aware of or involved in. It's very hard to speculate, so I can't tell you what this means. I can tell you that the imperative of getting a ceasefire, the importance that that has for everyone remains. And we will continue to labor at that for as long as it takes to get there.
We don't believe that an escalation is inevitable.
U.S. National Security spokesperson John Kirby said there was no immediate signs of escalation, but admitted that risks were, quote, certainly up right now.
Today, that this is something that we've been concerned about since the 7th of October.
Okay, so that was that video from Reuters. Yeah, you know, so the Reuters content, I know that the videos, it's like the sound is only coming out of one side, although I can hear the sound. But so the deal with the Reuters stuff is I'm trying out the Reuters content. I already have a deal with AP to use their print content. And then I already have I pay for it. And I pay Reuters to use their live videos. And I'm exploring the Reuters, the articles that come with the photos and the videos. And so if I end up going further with Reuters and using it in the longer term, I will ask them about the audio. That seems to be how they post these audio things. They post it with like the audio on one channel, and I'm not sure why they do that, because they all seem to be like that. But if we end up continuing to use the Reuters print content, then I will ask them about it and see if I can do anything about it. But I think it's I kind of like having the videos, and I think it can be neat to look at them, and they summarize what's going on. So okay. Quick thanks, by the way, to Cartoon Maps for your support. Thank you. And also Jorthio. Few flights directed to LCACY. I don't know what LCACY is. But again, I have not heard anything tonight. That's an airport in Cyprus, I guess. When it comes to like flight stuff, I'm not an expert on that. And if something funky is going on with like air traffic, there are accounts I follow that will definitely know that and definitely report on that. And I'm not hearing any reports about anything being amiss at the moment. So I'll keep you posted. Okay, let's see. Our viewer, Zev, likes having the content from both AP and Reuters. Yeah, AP has the photos, and then Reuters sometimes has videos. Rod says, when are they saying this is going to happen? It's not really clear. I mean, I read you a report that said in the coming days. I would assume in the coming days it could happen. There was one report I think that said as soon as this weekend, but it's just not clear, So I certainly can't. It's not like I don't expect Iran to come out and say we're going to do it on this day. It could. I mean, look, if it could happen tonight, I honestly don't know. I wouldn't be particularly surprised. The ball is in Iran's court right now. Bogey says Iran has to pump the rockets up first. Certainly, you could imagine if it's going. You could imagine it might take a bit of planning and preparation, especially if Iran's going to do something involving its partners like Hezbollah. I'm going to do a poll in the chat about this. Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll and ask you guys when you think it's going to be. When will Iran response happen? Today is Thursday. I'm going to say by tomorrow, this weekend, and later. Those are going to be the three choices. When will Iran response happen? By tomorrow, this weekend, or later? That's what I'm going to ask you guys, and we'll see what you say. Okay, I'm going to show you guys what people are saying here. Let's look. What are people saying? Oops. Our viewers on YouTube say 21% say by tomorrow. So that would include, Friday night. 53% say this weekend and 26% say later. Let us go check out what is happening over on Twitch. On Twitch, 18% people say by tomorrow, 47% say this weekend, and 34% say later. I would say the winner is this weekend among you guys. Danny G says it takes time to coordinate. Mohammed thinks it will happen on Sunday night. Gregory Pelletieri says they'll probably do it on Shabbat again. The Shabbat is from Friday night to Saturday night. So if I have that right, but I don't. The one in April. That one was when? I have to look. I know it was April 13th, right? Or midnight, April 12th. I got to look that up. It was on April 13th around midnight. 13th and 14th. What day was April 13th? To pull that up here. Oh, yes, it is true that it's Friday in Iran. I guess I could have been more clear, but I was saying by tomorrow I meant including tomorrow night. The 13th midnight was a Saturday night. So I think maybe it happened on a Saturday night in Israel. What's Up Jet says was a Saturday night in Israel. All right, I'm going to wrap up these polls. Oops. Yes, it is Friday Iran time and Israel time right now. Friday early morning. John Turpin says, is the U.S. carrier group still near Israel? Would they help thwart Iran rockets? So I'm sure America is making plans to help Israel. I forget, did a carrier group get sent there like a month ago or something like that? I have to look it up. I'm not sure. Navy Times said on July 12th that the aircraft carrier Theodore Roosevelt is operating in the Middle East, and it replaced the aircraft carrier Dwight Eisenhower. They posted that on July 12th. Just to be clear. That's I don't have much information on that though. Oh, also U.S. Naval Institute said a few days ago that there are UN ships patrolling the Red Sea as part of Operation Prosperity Guardian. The USS Theodore Roosevelt is operating in the Persian Gulf. It says. They say the USS Theodore Roosevelt CVN-71 is operating in the Persian Gulf. I'm reading their article right now. I guess that's happening. I'm not positive. Anyways, that's the latest. That's the best I can tell you. That's the best I can tell you. But I don't know. I don't have anything from today or anything. So, and I did like a quick news article search, and I couldn't find anything particularly helpful beyond what I just told you. So, I don't have like stuff from the last. I see some recent articles. Yeah, I don't even know where they got this. Like One America News Network is claiming that the Defense Department has deployed 12 warships to the Persian Gulf, but they don't even say where they got the information from. There's literally no attribution of that story. It just says it, and it doesn't say where the information came from. So I don't know what exactly is there. Hey, here's the Jerusalem shot. That's Jerusalem. That is Jerusalem right there. And then we've been looking at Tel Aviv. Vuki thinks Iran looks really weak right now. They must act, and it must be soon. Yeah, somebody just sent me a social media post claiming what ships were where, but they don't say where they got the information. Again, there's all these social media accounts, and they post stuff, and they don't say where they got the information. And they often post false information. So just because someone's posting it on social media doesn't mean it's true. You need to ask yourself, where are they getting the information from? They should say where they're getting it from. Yeah, Trucker Jim says, I heard the U.S. has moved 12 ships to the Middle East. Again, I've seen it floating around, but when I see it, I never see an attribution. Nobody ever says, here's where that information came from. It doesn't seem like there's been an official announcement, because I'd be seeing a lot more reporting from reliable sources saying, hey, the Navy announced this. But there's none of that. So it's just this rumor right now. Let me just see if I have any other updates here. Here's a little interesting report for you. In the AP article today, this article, a ceasefire is the key to ending region's cycle of violence, Blinken says. Look down here. Oh no. Yemen's Houthi rebels, who are supported by Iran, preparing to respond to significant escalation by Israel. The leader of Yemen's Houthi rebels said today that efforts were underway to militarily respond to Israel following the killings of senior Hamas and Hezbollah leaders that have raised the prospect of war in the region. The leader of the Houthis, Abdul Malek al-Houthi, said in a televised speech that there must be a military response to the serious crimes and the significant escalation by the Israeli enemy. Efforts are underway to respond, he added. The speech came in after Israel killed top Hezbollah commander Fuad Shakir in Beirut, and the assassination of Iran of Hamas's political leader Ismail Haniyeh earlier this week. The region is bracing for a potential conflagration. It's like a huge fire, I believe that means, following the two killings. Basically, big fighting is what the region is preparing for. Oh, and also, hey, you know what we didn't even talk about? We didn't even talk about Mohammed Deif. We got to talk about Mohammed Deif a little bit, guys. We didn't even talk about that. Mohammed Deif, this happened early this morning, right before, like at 4 or 5 in the morning this came out. Israel confirmed they had killed Mohammed Deif, who is the military head of Hamas. He was one of their most wanted people. Let me show you something about that. That was really big news. I was so exhausted, and I wasn't going to go on just to cover that. But this is really important. It's very important. He was one of the most wanted people by Israel. He was definitely in the top 5, maybe like top 2 or 3, actually, since October 7th. And a couple weeks ago, I believe, they had launched a strike, and they said that they were trying to kill him, and they weren't sure if they did or not. And they just confirmed early this morning that they had killed him. Really quick, let me just check something here. Hold on. Oh, you know what? I can show you. I can show you a little video on this via Reuters. But this was a really big deal. We didn't do a stream on it because of the timing, and I wasn't going to come on just for that when I was falling asleep. But, I mean, if it's big enough news, even if I'm falling asleep, I'll come on the air. But I figured we'd talk about it later. We just hadn't talked about it today. But this is really big news. He was one of their top handful of targets. Okay, get your left audio channel ready. Get your left audio channel ready, because we are about to show you a Reuters news video that goes along with this article. Death of Hamas military leader Mohammed Deif, October 7th mastermind confirmed. So get your left channel ready. As we play this for you from Reuters. Oops, let me make it a little smaller here. All right. Left audio channel activated.
This is the airstrike on Gaza the Israeli military says killed the head of Hamas's military wing, Mohammed Deif. The IDF announcing on Thursday an intelligence assessment confirmed his death when their fighter jets struck the site in Khan Yunis on July 13th. Deif is believed to have been one of the masterminds of Hamas's October 7th attack on southern Israel, which triggered the Gaza war. One of Hamas's most dominant figures and top of Israel's most wanted list for decades, Deif rose through the group's ranks over 30 years, developing its network of tunnels and its bomb-making expertise. Hamas neither confirmed nor denied his death, but one official said any word on deaths of its leaders was its responsibility alone. Scores of Palestinians were killed in airstrikes that killed Deif, medics in Gaza say. The announcement came as crowds gathered in Tehran for the funeral procession of Hamas's leader Ismail Haniyeh. Haniyeh was assassinated in the Iranian capital, with both Iran and Hamas blaming Israel, which hasn't denied or confirmed a role in his killing. Hezbollah and Hamas are backed by Iran. These latest killings have raised concern of a future escalation in hostilities in the Middle East. Israel has said it does not seek regional war, but that it would respond forcefully to any attack. And now, on the 300th day of warfare in Gaza, hopes for a hostage deal and ceasefire have dimmed.
So that was that Reuters video that goes along with this article. Yeah, again, he was like, they said he was one of their top target for decades in Hamas. Let's see here. Yeah, you can see here Reuters says he has topped Israel's most wanted list for decades, held personally responsible for the deaths of dozens of Israelis in suicide bombings. Scores of Palestinians were killed in the airstrike that killed him, medics in Gaza say. So he was one of the masterminds of the October 7th attack, and then the other, Israel says, and the other mastermind of the October 7th attack, Yahya Sinwar, is still believed to be directing military operations, possibly from bunkers beneath Gaza, while playing a leading role in indirect negotiations with Israel for a prisoner swap deal, says Reuters. But again, they say he was the head of Hamas's military wing. And he is believed to have been one of the masterminds of the October 7th attack. And here's a couple pictures of him from Reuters. This is him, picture released from I don't know when it was taken. The picture was released January 7th, and then there's this picture, which is an undated photograph. These are both from Reuters. So yeah, Yahya Sinwar is like the big last, he is the biggest person by far still on the Israeli want list, kill list for October 7th. Because so they've now killed Mohammed Deif. They also killed someone who was very high on their list a couple days ago. That was the assassination in Tehran. That was Ismail Haniyeh, who was the political leader of Hamas. And he was not based in Gaza. He was based outside of Gaza. And Yahya Sinwar, our viewer April Taj says he is the next hit. So he is got to be at the top of the list now in terms of the October 7th related targets. There's the Wikipedia page. He is the leader of Hamas in Gaza. And, Sunflower says Sinwar is next. What Say What says Sinwar is probably in Egypt. But, the Deif thing got kind of lost a little bit just because so much has been going on. And also, Israel, they did the airstrike and they thought they might have gotten him, but it wasn't confirmed. And the airstrike, I think, was a couple weeks ago. But Israel announced that he is confirmed dead. Cheryl Simpson says, "Isn't Sinwar the only one left to negotiate with?" Well, I'm guessing that somebody would replace somebody outside of Gaza would replace Haniyeh. So somebody could say, meet with people in person, because Sinwar isn't going to meet with people. He's in hiding, and he's in Gaza. By the way, a quick thank you to Student of the World for your support, and also Lucas, Malik, and Lucas's brother watching. Thanks for your support. CC Truck wants a member poll emoji. Maybe we'll get a poll emoji at some point. I'll have to look into that. I'll ask Sonic about that. That's an interesting emoji idea. Thanks to Up North, Cartoon Maps, Jorthio, Kitty Cat, Me, and also, let's see here. Random Guy says he is in Gaza. Yeah, he is believed to be in Gaza, Yahya Sinwar. Here's another report on that. What are the photos here? Oh, so this is from Associated Press. I'd actually like to show you this. This is the Associated Press article about Mohammed Deif getting killed. And it says, Israel says it is confirmed that chief of Hamas's military wing was killed in a July strike in Gaza. What I'd like to do is, let me download those photos. This will be a good practice to do. I'm going to download those two photos so I can show them to you. How does this work? Download. All right, I just downloaded. Now I'm going to show them to you. It's the scene. I'm going to show you two photos of the scene of the airstrike that killed Mohammed Deif. This was in Gaza on July 13th, okay? Here. These are from Associated Press. They go with that article. So it was a big airstrike. Scores reported dead. A score is 20 people. So it was as you can see, a large airstrike there. And then the other photo is this one here. So again, Israeli military said it has confirmed that the head of Hamas's military wing, Mohammed Deif, was killed in an airstrike in Gaza in July. That announcement came a day after an apparent Israeli strike in Tehran killed Hamas's top political leader. The rapid events this week have left U.S. and Egyptian and Qatari mediators scrambling to salvage talks for a ceasefire deal in Gaza. At the same time, international diplomats, AP says, want to avert an escalation into an all-out regional war after the assassination in Tehran of Hamas's Ismail Haniyeh. Israel's killing of a top Hezbollah commander in a Beirut strike, and now Israel's announcement of Deif's death. The apparent elimination of Haniyeh and Deif, two of Hamas's most senior figures, brings a victory for Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu as Israeli forces continue to operate in Gaza. The assassinations, say Associated Press, put Netanyahu at a crossroads. They present him with a potential political off-ramp to end the war, allowing him to retreat from his lofty promises of total victory while showing Israelis that Hamas's military capabilities suffered a debilitating blow. The killings could also lead him to harden Israel's position in ceasefire talks, with Israel officials insisting the blows to Hamas will force it to compromise. Hamas could dig in as well in the talks or quit them entirely. Israel believes that Deif, the head of Hamas's military, and Yahya Sinwar, the top Hamas leader in Gaza, who is still alive, were the chief architects of the October 7th attack. Israel targeted Deif on July 13th in a strike that hit a compound on the outskirts of the southern Gaza city of Khan Yunis. The military said another Hamas commander, Rafa Salama, was killed. More than 90 other people, including displaced civilians in nearby tents, were also killed, Gaza health officials said. So far, Netanyahu has said, according to Associated Press, he is determined to continue the war until Hamas is destroyed. Far-right nationalist coalition partners on whom he relies to stay in power have threatened to leave the government if he halts the war. The Israeli defense minister said the strike that killed Deif was a significant milestone toward achieving the goals in the war. Deif was one of the founders of Hamas's military wing in the 1990s. He led the Qassam Brigades, Hamas's military wing, for decades through campaigns of suicide bombings against Israel civilians, volleys of rocket fire into Israel, and repeated Israeli assaults on Gaza since Hamas took power there in 2007. He remained a mysterious underground figure in Gaza. He never appeared in public, was hardly ever photographed, and only rarely was his voice heard in audio statements. He had previously survived a string of Israeli assassination attempts. So again, that is from Associated Press on Mohammed Deif. I'd forgotten to talk about it in the stream, but it's huge news. So that happened too. El Haviland thinks Sinwar is likely not next. He and Bibi need each other. There's this question as to whether Netanyahu actually wants the conflict to end. If I can summarize this view quickly, really quickly, The Economist had a passage about it. Where is it here? Is this it here? Yes, so The Economist had a recent article where they said the Israeli prime minister has prevaricated for months. That's like avoiding to tell the truth. Anyways, what it says is that he hasn't clearly said whether he wants a ceasefire deal for months, fearful that agreeing to a ceasefire would switch Israel's focus back to its internal ills and his own trial for corruption. So the idea would be that as this thing, the conflict keeps still going, that helps keep him in power, basically, without getting too into the details. So some think maybe he wants the conflict to keep going. I think that's what maybe El Haviland is saying, but I'm not sure. Jacob Camhole says, thanks, Jacob. For clarity, to encourage support, can you talk about costs you're covering for AP and Reuters? I bet it's more than people think. Look, I'm not going to get into numbers. It's a lot. It costs a lot to buy the live footage, and it costs a lot to buy... I'm paying AP now. I have a deal with them. I have a deal with AFP and Reuters for live footage. I have a deal with AP, a new one for print content. I'm talking to Reuters and others about potentially more stuff. Yes, it is a lot of money, but people donate. So just so you know, that's a big part of what I use the donations for, is to put it back in and for the but I'm not going to talk about specifics. But I do agree. I will say I do agree that if people knew, it's probably more than you think, but probably significantly more than you think. But to me, it's worth it. As long as I can cover it with what the channel makes, I like doing it because it makes the channel better, and it's better for everyone, better for me, better for you. Anyways, thank you, Flank Merch, for your support, and Sandy C, and Mountain Men, and Lucky Splinters, and Student of the World. Hey, you know what we got to do? So, hang on a second here. Oh, thanks, Crazy Yoda. So soon, I gotta eat before we do the nighttime stream. So we gotta wrap the stream up soon because I gotta eat before we're gonna do another stream on the prisoner exchange because the prisoners are supposed to land at 11:30. Thanks, Richard. Richard R., I appreciate it. Yeah, so I need to do that because we're going to do another stream. So I'm going to take a few more comments here, and then I'm going to wrap up the stream. Obviously, if there's big developments in Israel, we'll come back on and cover it. So whenever it happens. But we're going to do a stream later on the on, once I eat, we're going to do a stream on the prisoner exchange. So let me take a few more comments from you guys and do a quick news check. But I do need to eat so we can come back on and do that. Yeah, why? Where did they get this from? Oh, the Washington Post, I guess, reported it. Yeah, our viewer mentioned the Washington Post. Scleratissimus mentioned the Washington Post. But I haven't found the original Washington Post article. I don't see the original Washington Post article. I see people saying the Washington Post reported that 12 ships got sent to the Middle East, and I literally don't see the Washington Post article. So I don't know. I'll look for it after the stream. I'll see if I can find it. But I think it might be time to eat. Yeah, Ynet said the Washington Post reported, but I don't know where the Washington Post article is. Yeah, and then somebody else just sent me an article that says, according to the Washington Post, but I haven't seen the Washington Post article. Okay. Sorry, I was just checking some comments people have sent me. Oh, hold on. I might have gotten it. When is this from? Let's see. Did I find it? Is this from today? Gus Bus. Big shout out to our viewer Gus Bus. Gus Bus found it. The Washington Post reported today and said, where is it here? Gus Bus found it. Gus Bus found it. I think, yes. 2:59 a.m., U.S. Navy assembles 12 warships. So what it says is, rising tension in the Middle East following the killing of senior officials in Hamas and Hezbollah has not prompted the Pentagon to announce any additional deployments, but the U.S. has assembled at least a dozen warships nearby. Assembled. The vessels include the aircraft carrier Theodore Roosevelt and its accompanying warships, and some other ships they talk about. But I think they were already in the area. They weren't. I think it's not like they were sent from the other end of the world or something. So it says assembled. Anyways. Okay, thanks, Gus Bus. All right, I gotta eat. I gotta eat. We gotta do this. Something in the sky? Well, it could be a plane or something, or a helicopter or something. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not seeing any alerts, guys, so I'm going to assume it's something harmless. All right, so here's our plan. Here's the plan. I'm going to wrap up this stream and eat, because I got to eat. And then we are going to come back with a stream a little later tonight on the return of the hostages who were released by Russia to the U.S. And we're going to talk about that story when we get back on the air. Okay? So I think that story is probably going to be, maybe I'll come on the air around like 10 for that or something like that, like 10 p.m. Eastern time. So I appreciate you guys being here, and we will be back in a few hours, couple hours. And I really appreciate you watching the stream. Oh, thanks, by the way, to Mountain Man for the gift membership, Lucky Splinters for the gift membership, Jojo I Am to you, Steve Ward, Hassel DeHoff. What if Iran does nothing? I mean, at this point they're going to do something. The supreme leader posted on his website that they're going to take revenge. They're going to do something. The supreme leader posted it on his website, so they're not going to do nothing. Thank you, Hassel DeHoff, Bebop, and Rocksteady, and I appreciate that, Bebop and Rocksteady, for your support. And thanks to you guys for watching, and thanks for a lot of excellent questions and letting me read your comments. I'm sorry I didn't get to more comments. We will definitely have more coverage of this story. And obviously, if there's any big developments at any time, I'll just, whatever we're doing, we'll drop it and cover this. But certainly we'll keep an eye out for more developments. And I'll be, so subscribe and follow this channel, Agenda Free TV, cover all kinds of live breaking news here. So subscribe and follow the channel and turn on our notifications. We have a special notification system that we've set up, and it's free and it works really well. So you get a notification right when we go on the air every time. I never know in advance when we're going live. Usually don't know in advance. So to make sure you don't miss a stream, sign up for the free notifications. The mods will post the link in the chat right now, and you can find the link in our Facebook and YouTube descriptions for this broadcast as well. So sign up for the notifications. And follow me on X, @Lookner. I post breaking news updates there when I'm not on the air. @Lookner on X. I will post the link to the X feed in the chat right now. But follow me over there. Oh, and thanks to Steve Ward, Sarah Howes, our new member. I already thanked Steve Ward. Thanks to our new member, Sarah Howes. And huge thanks to our moderators. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much, moderators. Ruth Krafasi, Sabrina, Sarah55, all of our other YouTube moderators. Without our moderators, we couldn't have chat rooms. They're the ones keeping it civil and respectful in there. Thank goodness for them. Really appreciate it. So all of our YouTube moderators, thank you. Linda Belk and Larry moderate for us on X. Thank you. Our Twitch moderators, Big Ball of Yarn, David Green, Good Luck Duck, LB Prairie on Idaho Star, I Got That Fire, McBritches, Papa Bear, Surly Dev, Traveling Slim, and all of our Twitch mods, thank you. And thanks for your support on Twitch, Sudden Apollo and Old Dude Mike, thank you. And Rick1111, very kind of you, thank you. And thanks for your kind words, Old Dude Mike. And also our Facebook moderators, such as Paul Anderson, Kay Lowry Body, Margaret Riley, Christina Neal, Ronald Egnor, Bud Green. Appreciate all of our Facebook moderators. Thank you. And what else did I want to mention? Oh, you can also check out our Discord chat where you can chat with other viewers when we're not on the air. A lot of our viewers like doing that. It's at the same link as the notifications. So check out our Discord. And thanks to our Discord moderators. Really appreciate you. And if anybody out there is interested in being a volunteer moderator, that would be awesome. You can ask the mods for more information on that. There might be a wait list, but ask the mods about that. Quick reminder, if you do watch us on YouTube, if you want to turn on the YouTube notifications, can't hurt to have more notifications to give you an extra heads up. If you want to turn on the YouTube notifications, you got to do something. You got to click the notifications bell and choose all notifications. I know that sounds funky, but there's a bell here. You want to click that bell and choose all notifications so you get the YouTube notifications. And a quick reminder, when there's less news, I sometimes stream on my personal channel where I do non-news live streaming. That is called Lookner on YouTube and Looknerd with a D on Twitch. You can check those out if you would like. Let's see. What else did I want to say? I wanted to thank our Facebook subscribers like Eve Richards and Lou Green and Robert Rial II and Billy Joe Drage and Diane Allworth and Duster Singer. The stream tonight and Jane Summers and Margaret Riley and Kay Lowry Body and all of our other Facebook subscribers. Thanks for your support of the channel. I do the 11:30 landing time is tonight. For the 11:30 Eastern is when the hostages are supposed to land in D.C. So we'll be on before then to cover that. Hopefully I'll have footage of it. We'll see. I can't guarantee it, but I'm hoping to. We're covering it either way. Also, thanks to all of the rest of our Facebook subscribers. Thanks to all of our Twitch subscribers. Really appreciate that. People like Shaggy and Wall Street, thank you. And What Plants Crave, Devil Doc, thank you for subscribing over there, and all of our other subscribers. I really appreciate all of our Twitch subscribers, Jackson22 as well, and also our YouTube members. Thanks so much for your support, being members on YouTube, like Eric Johnson, Danny G, Little Anna Amra, the one and only Evelyn in Maine, Zinkman, UV Lightning, Evasive Snail, PZ Papa Zulu, Turned Off, Rick Hoppy, Ronnie Coleman, Raina Hood, Marin Gobra, Jarrett Nash, PZ Papa Zulu, Papa Steve, Anita Modaluski, thank you YouTube members, Buffalo Women, Sandy C. Pixel Panda Hasseldehoff, Jojo I Am, Mountain Man, Ronnie Coleman, Pam Bachman, Lucky Splinters, Tool Time with Tierney, Mark Washburn, and all of our other KB Tisme and all of our other YouTube members, thank you. And all of our other viewers, thank you. Okay, we'll talk about the hostage thing on that stream. Thanks, Dragon, for watching as well. And also Paula Thompson and all of our other, Brian Schwartz and all of our other viewers. In Real Life 3. Okay, so wrapping up this live stream, going to come back a little later tonight, maybe around 10 Eastern time, to cover the hostages coming back to the U.S. and talk about that story because we didn't get to cover it earlier. And obviously, if there's any huge developments with Israel or something else, we'll come on the air and cover that. You never know what's going to happen. But I really hope I can get the footage of him arriving. We'll just have to see if I'll have access to it. I'm hoping the White House puts out a stream of it. The White House should do a live stream of it because Biden's meeting him there. The White House should do a live stream. I got it. I got footage. The White House is doing a live stream of it. Look, I got it. There it is. We're going to have live coverage. We got the video. There you go. Okay, done. Okay, that is it. So we will be back. We will have the live footage of the hostages landing in the U.S., and we'll talk all about that story in a couple hours. So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you hopefully a little later tonight, right back here. And thanks again to our moderators. We'll see you soon, right here, for more coverage soon on Agenda Free TV.